My little town of Westfield. This place is the city I started back in 2015 and slow played. And I do mean slow played. To the point where I'm still playing the same city today. Mind you, there have been obstacles thrown in my way, like DLCs rendering my game useless, so I'd have to go play something else and just hope that one day I could open those saves again, and I could. It took sometimes, I guess the first time it took like 6 months, then 5 months, then 3 months, and then they finally got to the point where when they put out a DLC, most of the mods were repaired already. But the last time, like what we're looking at here, except for the new renovation of the interchange and the rail yard, was from 2023. And everything after 2023 was pretty much lost. Right, because, well, I lost my hard drive and was foolish enough to throw it in the garbage, or have them throw it in the garbage, and not try to find a way to retrieve the city files. So, yeah. But it's not that big of a deal. Only because, well, I've got the experience in this game now. Right? And if you're not aware, this is an interchange that was designed just for the rail yard. Right? If you can come off the highway and go to the rail yard from either direction, same way coming through the city, you'd have to hit this interchange. You'd have to go out to the highway and hit this interchange to enter. What I want to talk about is vehicles turning corners, like tight ones like that. And I think the best place to show you would be way out here. And there's a couple of little things I'm going to show you about this traffic that we pretty much take for granted. For example, have you ever seen the situation of a vehicle taking a corner that's too sharp? Let me see if I can get that going on here. At some point, there we go. He's almost up on 2 wheels. Let me slow this down. So that's the tight bend, right? Now, either their suspension is really weak, or that's a message trying to show us something, or show me something. The message is, I mean, if you were to take it at face value, that they're driving too fast, right? Not so much him. I think this outer bend actually has a bigger warp to it, or a sharper warp to it. Actually, look at him. But if you were to take it at face value, it would be that these vehicles are traveling just way too fast. But they'll do it because, well, that's the speed limit. Well, actually, no, they won't. I like the signals. Turn signal. What I mean is, there's this message I keep telling everybody that the tighter the turn, the slower they take it. And I'm going to try to back up enough so you don't see them using their brake lights. Oh, he put on his brake lights. He not so much. I guess he was traveling slower. What I'm showing you is this traffic is slowing itself down for that turn. So that's actually another message, or another thing trying to show you that, yo, dude, this curve is too tight or too fast. One of the two. Why are we talking about that? Well, because it's something you can fix. Now, it could look goofy, but if you get what mod? Network extensions? 2? Plus there's other pieces of road. All you essentially have to do is slow this thing down. This road, depending on where you look or who you ask, says it's 80. Now, once you get out here on the road, you'll see there's a marker. I think it actually says 100. I'm wrong. Yep, 100. So I'm not quite sure which one to believe at this point. But it's pretty fast, and I think we could all agree a vehicle taking those turns at 80, either miles an hour or kilometers an hour, is going to put some stress on the suspension of a vehicle, even though that looked pretty safe. I should have remembered where that point was. Is it right here? There's a point where they really, like that, looks like they're going to fall over, right? Or tip over. They're begging me, or they're showing me that A, with the tip of the vehicle, it's either too fast or too tight, and the brakes, using the brakes to slow down, just go ahead and just reinforces the problem, right? It's like, well, we got to slow down and do that, tip our wheel. You know, they could possibly save money on tires. I don't know. That's kind of foolish. The reason I want to talk about that is because now that I'm doing renovations again, I'm kind of thinking, well, I want to pay attention to those kind of signals that the game is putting forward. I forgot about that. Oh my God. Look at that disaster. It'll be fun rebuilding that. My goodness. That happened because, well, that was the edge of the map at the time. So I had to find a way or figure out a way to cram. Yeah, I think that was 2016. But the reason I want to talk to you about that is because I want to put a little bit of realism back into the game. And since one of it was rebuilding these rails and having them more smoother and level, and it does make a difference. Like the way they travel through here is pretty cool. It's really nice, actually. Yeah, still a couple of little dips, but we're ironing out the bugs. But when I was rebuilding my ramp, I was trying to figure out, how do I get traffic from this side of the highway to in here without looking really goofy? Like, I didn't want two overhead, like two flyover ramps. I mean, the one flyover ramp is more than enough for me, right? So what did I do? I'm enjoying doing this, going underneath. So it's like, well, could I do that? Could I lift the highway? Let's see if I can lift the highway and put it underneath there. I mean, after all, there was a bridge for the train already. So maybe feeding this ramp, actually, what it used to do, I was trying to keep it compressed. The ramp used to start here, go underneath this bridge, and then come through here. Go under the bridge and then go up. And since they're going to the rail yard, there's no other route to take, so it doesn't matter how goofy, how slow I make this. That's their only choice, so they're going to take it. But I guess if I make it too slow, they could possibly take stuff to a different train station and have them do that. Have it go from that station to the rail yard and do what they do, because they do. Trucks will come in from out of town, go to my rail yard, and export. Yeah, this game doesn't cease to amaze me at times. But in doing so, I ended up with a little problem. And that's that. This tight little turn, which is really, really, really tight, is at 80. Garbage trucks want to flip over. Cube vans want to flip over. Jeez, econo vans. Right? Even cars will go on their two wheels. So what do? Well, you slowed the road down. Now, when you do slow the road down, okay, this one's from a mod, you can use a dirt road, and because it's one-way traffic, they'll only use the one lane. But I can imagine you would think that looks kind of really just a bit too goofy. But it will work. If it looks goofy, then I would suggest you try to hide it somewhere. You know what I mean? Put it in a situation where they won't really see it. I'm going to use this. I'm going to update. What happened to all my traffic? I'm going to update. Here we go. 2 pieces underneath the bridge, so you really can't see them. I'm going to let these guys go through first, just so you can see exactly, once again, what they're doing. And they're tipping over. And don't know. Yep, they're slamming on their brake. They're slamming on their brake. And slamming on their brake because the tightest to turn. The turn is way too tight. Right, so I'm going to up. I didn't mean to do that one. We're going to put this one back to the highway. Why? Just so it can be sort of hidden underneath the bridge. Okay, he's not really liking what I did. Put on the brakes, turn signals. But as he takes that turn, he's taking it slow and gentle, isn't he? That's what I wanted to see. Because realistically, there are no ramps coming off of any highway that maintain 80. Right? It's a shame that they don't have multiple ramp pieces. Well, I mean, that's what the workshop was for. For people to come up with these and build them. Unfortunately, with the road piece that I used there, it cannot be put on you can't use that as a bridge. That's why I was telling you about the gravel road, because with that, it'll build a wooden bridge. So if you see them tipping over and slamming on their brakes when they're coming off the off-ramp, it means the tight is, here we go again. The turn is too tight for them. Or it's just too fast. So if you can like open up that turn, that's one way to deal with it. But at 80, that's kind of tough. The one thing I have done that does work for me, see that? That's a 2-lane one-way road that travels at 40. The original reason I put this in here is because when traffic was coming down this road, the police would have a hard time. They would get stuck behind traffic. But when I do this, they can weave their way through while on the ramp and get ahead of, I guess, the congestion, so they can get to where they're going. So you may wish to consider this to slow down the road, because look, all these vehicles, they're not tipping. And why? Well, because it's not 80. Because if this was 80, the traffic would look like this. Actually, that's not too bad, is it? A little bit of lift. But look at that. See, that's just way too fast. Maybe not for the cars or the pickup trucks. No, he put his brake lights on. So again, if they're tipping, it means it's either too sharp or too fast. I know that's kind of like a duh moment, but it's a moment that's inside city skylines. They'll even show you with their brake lights, because they gotta slow down for the turns. so they slam on the brakes. Yeah. Won't make or break the game, but if you're looking for realism, that's one of the ways. Ciao for now, folks. Have fun with City Skylines.